Hey guys, there is a friendship that needs to be discussed. I have seen probably the most powerful friendship from a TV show called Arcane. This friendship, it blew me away. I've never seen something so powerful like that. And I've seen a lot of shows and all that with very close bonds and all that. These two, Jayce and Victor, I don't know what it was, but they were the most powerful bond I've ever seen in any show or movie. Like, it was just very well done. So Victor and Jayce are, they are considered to be, I guess, the main villains of the show in a way, because Jayce has dreams of mixing science and magic together to make something called Arcane, and they use something called the Hex Core to do this. And Victor teams up with him, and they're able to accomplish this. They're able to make the upper city a better place, and now they're determined to help the undercity next too, because I think that Victor's from the undercity, so he really want to help his people out, which I get. So it was real interesting to see those different dynamics. Someone from the undercity and someone from the upper city working together. And another reason why I liked this friendship was because I have seen a lot of shows and movies where the same stupid trope, right? Where a pretty boy and a nerd would work together and they just never got along. And this one they did. Like, they were very close. And it was crazy because Jayce is the extrovert, he is the pretty boy that's on the face of all the banners and stuff in the upper city. They all know his face. And Victor doesn't really seem to care about the spotlight at all. Like, for him, he's the introvert. He just wants to be, like, just doing his inventions with Jayce. And it was very sweet with Victor, because Victor, he really wasn't close to anyone. I mean, he kind of was to a guy named Heimerdinger. He was part of the council for a while, and also a professor. But what he developed with Jayce was very interesting. And I was like, wow, Jayce really cares about Victor, which, again, I felt bad for even thinking that, but it's because I have seen so many movies and shows where the pretty boy and the nerd trope, they don't get along. And they work together. This one, they really got along. They were very close. And the scene that really confirmed it for me was in season 1 when Victor is dying from a disease. Jayce has no idea until much later, because like Victor ends up passing out. And he had gone with Mel, a council member, and he actually had left her bedside to go to Victor because he got really worried about him. And that confirmed to me he really cares about Victor. Because if he didn't, he would have stayed with Mel, And yeah, he does tell her what happened afterward, and she was very forgiving, because she's a good person and, very cool character, and she was very forgiving and told him to stay by Victor's side. Because again, people were very aware of the bond they had. Like, everyone knew how close they were. And I don't know, it was so interesting how their bond would develop. I really enjoyed it. And they had a lot more in common than they thought, I think, because there was one part that really freaked me out. So, Jayce finds out about the war in the undercity that's brewing, and now both cities are going to go into war pretty much, but the upper city's trying to prevent it from happening. So, Jayce goes down there with Vi, some other character from Arcane, and he ends up killing a kid by accident with one of his weapons that he made. And then Victor accidentally killed a girl named Star that had a thing for him, because he had been trying to use the Hex Core to heal his body, and Jayce had no idea about any of it. And he ended up killing Star by accident. What was interesting, though, is that they both like meet up again in one episode. And keep in mind, they both just killed someone by accident. And they never tell each other about it. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? That was okay. I think maybe they were scared to admit what they did, which is understandable. They just killed someone by accident. They both did. But they didn't say anything at all. And I'm like, oh wow, that is crazy. I think maybe they were just trying to protect each other in some way. I don't know. It was interesting, that part. And then another crazy thing about the show too that freaked me out was Jayce was actually going to end his life in season 1 when he found out that he was suspended from his magic and science project of Arcane, and Victor stopped him. And then in that episode, when they meet up again and they both just kill someone, Victor was going to do the same thing, but Jayce stopped him unintentionally. Both times they both had no idea what was going to happen, I think. So that was already telling me that they're far more connected than I think here. And I know this is a friendship. It was confirmed by the creators, but I gotta be honest. I can see why fans were shipping them because it was something very special. It's not really your typical friendship at all. And their bond just gets stronger and stronger, even though things go horrible later. So, at the end of season 1, Jinx, some other character from Arcane, she blows up the council with a rocket launcher, and she had used a gemstone that Jayce and Victor had made, which really sucked, and that's why it was really effective. And Victor is caught in the crossfire, and he gets heavily injured to the point where he's gonna die. So Jayce takes him to the lab, puts the Hex Core in his body, and this sucked because Victor told Jayce to destroy the Hex Core and to let him die because he realized, I got someone killed, I can't let it continue anymore. And Jayce doesn't listen, and he puts the Hex Core in his body, and he becomes the Hex Core, pretty much his whole body. And when he wakes up from the Hex Core, he's confused at first what happened to him, and then Jayce is so happy to see him alive that he hugs him, which is really sweet. And then when he finds out what Jayce did, Victor is understandably upset, which I don't blame him for. And, he pretty much decides to end the partnership they have. And he walks away and just asking him why. And Victor tells Jayce that it had been affection that was holding us together. And I'm like, that is a very odd word choice. And I was thinking to myself, okay, is that what friends would say to each other? Because I was just like, okay, that's an odd word choice. I was curious, maybe the writers did it on purpose. Or, again, their bond was far stronger than we thought. Which I'm going to get to, definitely, in the next part of the video. So, in the next part, which is season 2, the rest of it, Victor and Jayce both go on very different paths. Victor becomes a sort of god for people in the Undercity. He's healing people with this, because again, he is now the Hex Core, and he is forming his own community, and he's helping people, right? Even Star has come back somehow because her body got absorbed by the Hex Core in some way, so she was technically still alive. So in a way, he kind of was dating her, which is sweet. And Jayce got sucked into Hex Core because he found out it had been in the upper city the whole time, getting stronger. He got sucked into it, and he hadn't been there for 1 whole year. And when he comes back out of it, he just went crazy because he saw the future, what Hex Core is going to do to the world, and he realizes, I gotta go kill my friend. And it freaked me out because he did it without hesitation. Like, zero. He just killed his friend when he got there. And in the next part, in the main finale of season 2, they find out that Victor's still alive somehow, and he turns the people that he healed into his follower, into his henchmen to serve him for the war. So it's crazy because when Jayce killed Victor, the people that he healed, they all kind of died too, because it was like a system failure. It was crazy, and they all became his servants permanently, which is really crazy. And there was a scene with Jayce that really threw me off guard, and I was like, what was the significance of that? I don't know. I was really thinking about it when that happened. So there's a scene where Jayce, in the finale, he's telling everyone about the war that's coming up with Victor, right? His army's gonna show up, they're like crap, because again, he saw how it's gonna end. He knows they're all gonna die, but hopefully they could, prevent that from happening. And then he's thinking about Victor before he killed him, right? And for some reason, he like thought of Victor smiling at him before he killed him. But that did not happen at all. Victor was not smiling at him at all before he killed him. And I'm like, why were you thinking about that, man? That is a weird thing to think about of your friend. I don't know. That kind of threw me off a little bit. I was just like, okay, this is friendship, right? And again, I did not ship him at all. I did not. But I was just like a little bit confused. And I'm like, did the writers purposely do this? Or is it because their bond is very special? And it kind of is confirmed in the finale how close they really are. And it's pretty nuts. So Victor does fail in destroying the world because a character named Echo is able to save everyone, the whole world. And Victor, he finds out, oh my god, like, yeah, because he pretty much sees the damage he was about to do. And he freaked out. And Jayce is talking to him in the last episode, and it's a very beautiful moment they're sharing because it's just them. It's just them talking. Like there's no one interrupting them. It's just them now, and he's also in the Hex Core with Victor, and they're talking, and Jayce tells him that I thought I had wanted to use magic to save the world, but now I just want my partner back. And I'm like, okay, what? And then Victor asks him after everything I've done, well, how comes like you still persist? You know, and then Jayce hugs him, and then we suddenly see why he's not willing to let his friend go. So there was a mystery man that had saved Jayce when he was a kid, and he brought him to the upper city. And what happened is that this man had used arcane, and that's why Jayce became so interested in using magic and science to make arcane. But what happened is that when he had been sucked into the Hex Core for 1 year, he had seen his body, right? Because a hammer, you know? And he was looking at the mystery man because he appeared to him. It was Victor. Victor has been traveling through so many different timelines, and every timeline they are destined to meet no matter what. And I'm like, no way, that is insane. And that really confirmed to me just how close they really are. And in the finale, Victor tells Jayce to leave because he realizes I have to die. Unfortunately, the Hex Core is a part of him, so he has to die. But Jayce doesn't want to leave him. And he stays with Victor, and they both die together. And it's just like, okay, that's wow. And I have two things to say about this, though. Again, it's just, I'm just so curious to what's really meant between them. So the one thing I just really want to discuss right now is just what kind of bond did they have? Because, look, I don't think friends would say that, you know, like, again, going back to that scene when Victor told Jayce, that's like affection held us together. I'm like, a friend wouldn't say that. Like, I don't know. And the part when Jayce was thinking about Victor before he killed him, when he smiled at him, I'm like, bro, that never even happened. Why are you picturing that? So, I have a theory. I do think they're friends, right? But I think it's more than that. I think they are soulmates in the way where it's not romantic. And I just think their love for each other is so powerful that they just couldn't, I suppose, like, just like leave each other. They just couldn't bear the thought of being without each other. So I guess it is kind of like love, but it's not in the way that we think. It's not romantic. It's just a very powerful bond. And the thought of them being on their own, they just couldn't do it. And I thought that was very beautiful and sad at the same time because Jayce died with Victor. Another thing, though, a theory I have here is, are they really dead? Because I honestly think if they ever do a spin-off, but I think it was confirmed that they are dead by the creators, but I hope, you know, somehow they do a spin-off. If they ever do a spin-off for Arcane, Victor and Jayce are the only ones they should consider. Because I gotta be very honest, the other characters, don't get me wrong, they're awesome. But Victor and Jayce are so special. They had a bond that was so powerful that they deserve to be tackled more if they ever do a spinoff. And I would love to see a spinoff because people do theorize that maybe they aren't dead, like maybe they were sent to a different timeline, which would make sense because again the Hex Core can teleport you. So that would actually be a cool thing that happened. And I would love to see their friendship get tackled more. And yes, Arcane was a great series. I just wish we got another season. Like maybe season 3, because I would have loved to have seen them develop a bit more. Because they were very special. Whatever they had, whatever kind of love they really had, it was very special. It was something beautiful. And I really want to see more of it. And yeah, it sounds crazy because we got a lot of scenes with them. Like, we got a lot of scenes with them together, but it was interesting. I just really enjoyed what they had. And to me, they made the show for me. They really did. And it was so interesting knowing that two villains were, like, they were going against each other. You know, it's like they were rivals. Two villains that were responsible for the Hex Core destroying lives, almost destroying the world. And it was just so interesting to see them become enemies. And I don't know, I really enjoy it. And the fact that they were still close, no matter what was going on. It was insane to me. That was, like, special. I'm like, bro, Jayce, you gotta... Damn, Jayce, like, you're very forgiving. But, yeah, but Jayce, too, though. It's his fault all this happened in the first place, you know? But, yeah, he really cared about Victor, and so did Victor. Like, it was just such an interesting friendship, man. Like, that's the reason why I loved Arcane. If it hadn't been for those two characters, I think the show still would have been good, but those two were... They made it very special for me. I don't know. It was just a great, development, great characters. They were great chemistry. I really enjoyed watching these two on screen together. They were fascinating to watch. So yeah, I'm very curious of what you guys think. Do you guys think it's friendship? Do you think maybe they were more than that? Or do you think they were soulmates, but in a friendship way? Do you know what I mean? Like, as not romantic, but still love in its own way. I'm just very curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I know a lot of people were shipping them. Because, and yes, I do get it, because the moments they were sharing, they were a bit, you know, it kind of came off as romantic. It kind of did. So I'm really curious to hear, like, your thoughts on this. So yeah, but it's my personal thought. I really think those two were soulmates, but not romantic. It was just very, very powerful bond they had. That's my opinion on that. Okay, guys, that's it for today. I'll see you with a brand new video very soon. Peace out.